so much. And then if any woman ask me that they need a mentor, somebody that they can that I can rely on, that should I recommend? Let me put it this way: if I'm asked to recommend one for any mentoring job or for anything to be done when it comes to marriage, when it comes to helping the wife know a place in the home, helping her to know her place in the corporate world, how she can maneuver and get things done in the corporate world. You know what? The first name that will come out of my mouth is the speaker that we have tonight. And I'm so glad that she's also speaking at the boot camp on Friday. She's going to be there on Friday. She's going to kick it off. You know, since we say that family is important, family is first. So what we decide to do is to make sure that we take the at the boot camp to on Friday. But meanwhile, let's get to meet all of us again. Please go to the chat room as we wait for others to join us. Go to the chat room and let us meet you. Okay, good to see you, Emmanuel, and every other person right now. Awesome. Good. Mr. Oluide, it's good to see you, or Mrs. Oluide, whichever one is there. Or even if it's the two of you, welcome. Shola, Shofade, thank you also for joining in. Bennett, hi Sweden. Okay, we have Ben from Port Harcourt also. But Bennett, hi Sweden, talk to me. Kosiberu from Lagos, that's my man. Kosiberu from Lagos. There is no fear. When I hear his name like this, it's as if I should go and punch police or punch SARS. And I tell them, Kosiberu, you know. Wow. Good. Talk to me. You know what, guys? You know, today's the last day of our money series. So it's good for you to also let us know how this has been a blessing to you. Felicia, it's good to see you again, all the way from Taraba. Bennett, all the way from Sweden. And okay, Ogene from Ugeli, Delta. Let me find out. Tell Asaba. I should be in Asaba very soon. So find out and we'll talk. I'm sure Ugeli is close to Asaba. Anyhow, whether it's not close, it's in Delta State, anyways. So you're welcome. We have Ayokule Faniku. Okay. Wow. Okay, thank you. That's our. Okay, don't worry. I won't mention it to everybody because it's you sent me a private message. You're welcome. Ayokule. Good. It's good to have all of us here. And then please talk to me. How has this been? Being in this money series 6 months. I mean, 6 months of one guest to another, from Christopher Colade to Patitomi, from Patitomi to Bayo Rupemi, from Bayo Rupemi to what's his name now? Kulian, from Kulian to Febi Daosa, Laurie Daosa. I mean, fantastic, mind-blowing guests. And then to help us round off the whole thing is somebody that I can recommend as a mother to anybody. I tell you, as a mother to anybody. And then she's going to And that tells you something. When a woman, as a mother, comes into the scene to round off a program, you know what that means? That means we're birthing something new. We're birthing something new. So you need to be there. Okay, Tosin is raising her hands. Let's hear from Tosin. Can you help me unmute Tosin, please?
I'm here, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just thought to quickly share this before others join in, and then I know we will soon double this number because what I'm about to share might be a little bit sensitive. On Saturday, on Thursday, we had this more like testimonial session, and it was a really good one. People poured out their hearts, and people expressed their gratitude to Pastor Nee for how he has helped, to shaping and cause a shift in paradigm, not just in workplace, but also in business and also personal life. So it was really a good time on Saturday. But I thought to share this here because it is business related. Now, on this platform, I have assisted in one way or the other with anchoring, once in a while. I learned it here and I was given the privilege and I put it to use here. A lot of people will be surprised to hear that I have never met Pastor Nee in person yet. Now, what I do here, I have been able to do on other platforms, not for free anymore, but for a fee. So I have not only learned, but I have put what I have learned to use. I have practiced it. I have met people's needs, given value. I have become creative about it. So you can call it something that is more like online event planning or something like that. So I get to meet with people. What do you want? What do you expect? I give them a questionnaire. I have a feel of what they expect during their Zoom meetings, and then I get into it and I do it for them. So part of the things that have happened to me in this period is what I have just shared with you. Don't go and try it. It may not work for you because it is an anointing. But thanks to Lutoro, all the people who I've seen who have moderated on this platform, if you have to try it, I'll have to train you. And I have to cash out first before I train you. So, well, I just thought to share that here since it has to do with money. And I'd like to say thank you to Pastor Nee for that. I'm sure he's curious to know more about it. All right, that will be all from here.
Well, one thing I would just like to say is that remember that I still have that title, Pastor Nee. So by the time you are making money from the remember to pay the 10%. I can collect it on behalf of God. Anyway, it's a good one to be. Anyone who wants to also share their story, please. What you've learned from this place and because today is the last day for the morning series. Just like we closed the one for leadership series on Thursday. Yeah, Tolu Toro Zanta Hub, please, can you help me unmute her, please?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
What Tosin said really, really have to make me talk about this hosting thing. I didn't say it's as part of my testimony yesterday. Yeah, Tosin, it's been an awesome, time to be able to learn under this platform. I've been called many times to come and host some church occasion in London. They will call me, please, we want to do our conference and it's going to be Zoom. Can you host it for us? To be sincere, I've not been taking money. I didn't think about money. I was just happy doing it. I was just doing it and doing it and doing it. You understand? And and apart from that, somebody called me and said, we know that you're hosting this and that. Can you please come and do Alaga Joko, Alaga Duro in London? I didn't charge them. I was happy. I jumped into it. I said, can you pay for my fare down to London? I'll be there. They paid. I went. I came back. I was happy. They sprayed me dollars. I was just happy doing it because I really want to learn and I want to be able. I'm just creating awareness for my name. So I wasn't thinking about money. I put money as a long run. Uh, something that will come later. I'm just creating awareness for now. But I've been so happy to be able to do it. And apart from that, there was a king that my I'll say father in-law to my family died in Kwara State, the Banigbe family. And I was able to coordinate the online funeral ceremony Zoom too, and Lagbaja's father as well. And many people have been calling for birthday, for things like that. So from January, I'll start charging them, but I'm creating awareness. And Pastor Nini, once again, thank you so much.
Don't wait till January. Don't wait till January. Start changing them from now. January
Pastor
is
Nini,
too far.
by then I'll be able to package myself well.
Don't worry, we'll package you immediately. My children in your house need some Christmas gifts. You need to give it to them.
Please, if you have not done, if you have not been able to do what's it called, to join the Speakers Academy, there is a lot to learn there. There is a lot, you know. Please just go and sign up for Speakers Academy. It's going to help you with your confidence, and it's going to help you to be able to do some stuff. Pastor Nii, once again, I thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir.
In other words, we spend the money together. Which the people want
No,
to
it's
say.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have someone who wants to say something? Okay, since we don't have, we can move on. We have 35 people right now. I'm sure many other people will still join us. Tonight I have my very own sister here. My very own sister. I love her so much. I respect her so much. So much. Like I told you, many people who come to meet me that they want a mentor. They want somebody to counsel with them. I mean, before I even remember anybody in my family, the first name that comes is our speaker for tonight. So what am I trying to say here? That means all the women in this place, you're having some challenges with your career, you're having some challenges at home, with business or anything that you do. I tell you, this is the woman to get in touch with. So she comes in highly recommended. And don't worry, when you hear her tonight, you know what I'm talking about. And even after tonight, she will be with us on Friday, Leadership Bootcamp. You know, when I was looking for a speaker for Leadership Bootcamp, I was searching, and I have Sister Bisi now. Where am I searching? Where am I going? She's way better than anybody I could even think about, even all over the world, to handle that topic for me. And I'm glad that she accepted. And I'm even more excited and grateful that she even accepted to come tonight. Because tonight is the final night of the money series. Oh, I'm crying already. It's the final night of money series. And then from now on, we'll move into those of you who are not part of the community. This is the best time for you to join the community. Go straight and join the community, and the details of everything that you need there will be in the, in the chat room where you can join us. Because from December, we'll start talking to the people in the community. We'll have more time with them, and then the whole of December, what we're trying to do with the community is to help them plan and project themselves, getting ready for 2021. So we'll be doing something every week for the whole of December. So if you've not been part of that, you know what? You're missing a lot. And every member of the community gets to watch and be part of the leadership boot camp that starts on Friday. So they can watch it online. I mean, all members of the community can watch that online free of charge, 2 days. So if you're not part of the community, go there right now. There's a link on the chat room. Click that and join us there. Because you know what, guys? The fee to joining the community is 50,000 naira. Just hold that there. The fee that you pay to join us online to be part of the leadership bootcamp is 50,000 naira. Is that not a bargain? So you pay 50,000 naira, you are part of the community for 90 days, and then you still get to sit down and watch everything that we have to offer Friday and Saturday next week from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 8 p.m. to 5 p.m. The only thing you will not enjoy with us at the boot camp is that you will just watch us eat. You will not be able to be part of our lunch, but nevertheless, you get the real gist. Anyway, are you guys ready? If you're not ready, let me know, because I can't just bring my beloved Sister Bisi on this platform without you people ready. So be ready. So go to the chat room and tell me I'm ready, I'm ready, we're ready, we're ready. If I don't see like 10 people telling me we're ready, we're not ready to go. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Yeah, much ready. Good. Bennett, thank you. Okay, then we are ready times 10. Okay, that's a private message. You people will not see that times 10. Okay, Austin said we're very ready. VHF, that's Victor said we're ready. Jeffrey, oh, Jeffrey, good to see you. Ready. We are ready. Good. Ready, sir. Fantastic. Now I have more than 10, so I can bring in the CEO of Estate Derivative Limited. And not just that, this woman was for over a decade or so, if not more, if not up to 2 decades, the women's leader of my church, Daystar Christian Center. I'm married to a wonderful, humble, very articulate man of God who happens to be a board member of trustee of Daystar. And no, our husband is a trustee of Daystar. She's a trustee member of Elevation Church. So she's not just a businesswoman, she's not just a mother, she's not just a family life expert, she's also very spiritual. So it's a combination of all. So when you hear her quote scripture, you know where she's coming from. When you hear her talk about career, you know where she's coming from. When you hear her talk about business, you know where she's coming from. And then once you start hearing her talk about the family, I tell you, if your spouse is not here, whether husband or wife, you need to call them right now and tell them, come and sit down, come and hear word, come and see what we're talking about, because we are about to be hit like a dynamite. We are about to be hit like as if it's an atomic bomb. And please, ladies and gentlemen, help me go to the chat room and help me welcome her. You know, today's our last day, so we can indulge her. Whatever time she wants to finish, we're here. If she wants to finish tomorrow, we'll wait for her to finish tomorrow. We're not running anywhere. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me go to the chat room right now and welcome Mrs. Bisi Adebayo. Mrs. Bisi Adebayo. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat room. You guys, don't fall my hand now. Okay, yeah, welcome. Yeah. You can see.
Thank you,
let's look at the chat room very well.
I can see. Wow. Good evening, everyone. Such a great delight being here. Thank you so very much, Pastor Nee, for having me, and then for all the nice things you've said about me. The truth, my head was swelling. I just sat here smiling and trying to be humble, but the truth of the matter is that I felt good. I felt good hearing those things from you, because I know
your face on my banner. Can you see your face?
I can see my face, and I can see my friend's face, Gigi. My God, wait. So it's exciting that I'm going to have company at the boot camp. Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to everyone already on the platform tonight. Thanks for the warm welcome. For whatever reason, I feel at home. Maybe because I can see Pastor Nee's face on the screen, his trademark smile. And I thought it would be more contained on the platform, but I mean, you know, the way he just goes about bullying everyone and having his way. He's doing exactly the same thing this night. And I think I love that about him. Thank you so very much. I really wish I'd been a part of the money series. And, during the lockdown, I was always part of the events you had. They kept me occupied. But I think now that the lockdown is eased up, so many other activities have taken hold of me, and I wasn't able to be a part of it. But I'm glad for the opportunity to, rub minds with us tonight, because the money topic is a very, very essential one. And many times we just, especially for those of us that are Christians, that are, people of faith, we tend to just brush it aside. We, quote scriptures about God providing for our needs, which is true. That's what the Bible says. But many times we don't deliberately, consciously do the things that we ought to do to be able to assess the blessings and all that God has in stock for us. So I'm glad that we're learning about this, and I will be sharing with us tonight quite a number of my own experience and the things I've discovered over the years about maximizing our opportunities, especially when it comes to money issues. I have a 54 slide presentation here tonight, but I definitely may be skipping some so that it doesn't become boring. It's a course I usually run for couples, and I ran that course for Elevation Church at a point in time too, for their leaders, and they came together and decided that the leaders, the team leads, the pastors, and their spouses should go through this program, and they did. So that's what I'm running tonight. I'll try to wash through it. I understand I have 40 minutes. I'm taking off at about 7:30. So I'm sure that by 8:10, I should be through. Now, in my few years on earth, I've seen men and women with amazing careers, wonderful opportunities, ending up years down the line with nothing to show for the opportunities that came their way. They just, blew those opportunities, spent partly because for many of them, it was either that they did not plan to maximize their opportunities. They had those opportunities, but they had no clear-cut plan to maximize and make the best of those opportunities. For some, it was because they didn't have any sensible companion to plan with. Maybe they didn't have, or maybe they had a companion who wasn't interested, or they didn't even take advantage. Some had, but they didn't take advantage of the counsel, the advice, the input of this particular individual, just because they didn't want to be accountable. And I've also come across people who seemingly had limited opportunities. They were not born with silver spoons, but they took advantage of the opportunities that came their way, and they were able to bring the law of synergy to work, and they accomplished great and mighty things. And without being immodest, I would like to say I belong to that second category. My husband and I, we started out life in very, very humble circumstances. I don't want to bore you with the stories. We were quite young. He was 27, I was 23, and we decided we were going to get married. And we didn't have so many basic things. I don't want to go into all those stories. They're interesting stories, but maybe they're not for tonight. But one thing we decided to do was to work together. We decided we were going to work together and put the law of synergy to work. And that has augured well for us. It has augured well for us so handsomely. And I'll be sharing a bit of the accomplishments, quote and unquote, with you, so that we realize that, yes, opportunities will come, but it's what we make of those opportunities that would matter at the end of the day. Now, I wonder what happened to me. I'm supposed to be sharing my screen, and I think I love seeing Pastor Niyi's face. That's why I forgot about the need to share my screen.
Let me stop my video then.
No, don't worry. I'll share my screen. Okay. So I'll be discussing with us how to achieve financial harmony in the family. I mean, whether you're single or you're married, this will be applicable to you. If you're married, you are in the right place. If you're single, then you know what to do. You know the things to take into consideration when eventually you find that other person. And even before then, you know the things you should be planning for, so that at the end of the day, you don't waste your opportunities. I have some scriptures here, but we won't go too deeply into them. But you know, the Bible talks about one chasing 1,000 and two chasing 10,000. I mean, that for me is the biblical parallel to the law of synergy. And I'll go to the definition of financial harmony. And this definition is a bit long and winding, but I would like to urge us to go, to take note of some of the keywords that are in that definition. That definition says that it is an interplay of financial assessments, decisions, and implementations, producing a synergy that leads to maximization of financial opportunities and achievement of financial objectives. Now, I didn't want this to be academic at all, but this is not the definition you will find in any textbook. It's born out of, you know, my experience. I realized that for there to be financial harmony in the family, it's usually an interplay of financial assessments. You have to assess yourselves, you have to take decisions, you have to implement those decisions. It's only then that you can produce a synergy that will lead to the maximization of your financial opportunities, and then your financial achievements can be achieved. That's just what that definition is saying. And while going through this, having this discussion with you tonight, we're going to be discussing the kind of assessments you are expected to go through, the kind of assessments you are expected to have, the decisions you should take, and the way to go about implementing those decisions, so that at the end of the day, your financial objectives can be achieved. And then again, you should be asking yourself, do I even have objectives? Do I have objectives at all? Am I working towards anything when it comes to finances? Because many times we have goals, we have vision, you know, lofty dreams for our lives, but we never really zero it down to our finances. We never really take our finances into, you know, bring our finances into very strict scrutiny, because we just assume that things will fall in place and everything will be okay. But it's very important that we take some vital steps. And those vital steps are, excuse me, please, I'm trying to, okay. Okay, so we will need to take some vital steps. And the first of those steps is vision. What vision do you have for your finances? What are your financial goals? What do you think of when you think of your finances? What kind of life do you want to live? How comfortable do you want to be? What dreams do you have for your children? What kind of an environment do you desire to live in? What kind of a lifestyle do you desire to have? All these are the things that you should envision. You should have at the back of your mind, this is what I want. Not because many times we live life like, look, whatever comes my way, if I get a job, I get the job done. Whatever type of job it is, would manage, would just, you know, make ends meet, would eke out the living. And many times we discover that, I mean, life gives to us what we expect of it, what we demand of it. So it's very important that you have a vision. What vision do you have for your finances? What kind of a life do you want to live? I remembered when I was a young girl in the university, I used to dream of living a very comfortable life. Well, growing up, my parents belongs to the middle class, average, you know, family. We didn't have everything we wanted, but we had the basic necessities, and were able, my parents were able to afford an education. But as a young lady, I just realized I wanted a life of comfort. I wanted to live comfortably. And as far back as then when I was in the university in the 80s, the big deal then was to land a job in Lagos with a merchant bank. And I mean, the top of the range pay bracket then was 36,000 naira per annum. If you're earning 36G, we used to call it 36 grand. If you land a job that gives you 36 grand per annum, you are made. And then that was my slogan. Then I'll say, oh, 36G. And then my friends would laugh because they knew what I meant by that. You know, so it's good to have a vision. And some just envision a lifetime of struggling and scrapping to make ends meet. Maybe because that was what they grew up seeing. It is important that we envision a life of comfort, affluence, and achievement of amazing things. That is very, very important. If you have a clear-cut vision, if you don't have a clear-cut vision and you're just blowing wherever the tides of life takes you, then you need to pause and ask yourself, I mean, is there any reason why, is this the reason why God brought me in contact with Niyi Adesanya? Is this the reason why, you know, I'm here? Because your mindset must first change. And I'm sure, I mean, whoever took the first few, the other sessions you had on money must have spoken about the mindset of money, your money psychology, you know, I mean, your money philosophy. What's your relationship with money like? How did you acquire it? That is very, very important. Because, I mean, for some people, when it comes to money issues, they're very careless, they're very carefree. And it is an attitude that is usually born out of the things they experienced maybe growing up. I, for instance, didn't have a very serious attitude about money. I loved to have money, and I felt like money should just be spent. As a matter of fact, my philosophy then was that it's the money you have spent that is your own. The one that is on the bank that you are keeping is not yours, because you don't know the person that will spend it eventually. That was a horrible philosophy to have. But that philosophy was born out of the fact that I had a mom who was very, very strict and very, what word do I use? When it comes to money, she's very, very what?
Shrewd.
Very shrewd. Very, I don't want to use the word stingy, but mommy was just, you know, very, very, and for whatever reason, I rebelled against that. You know, so people react to situations in different ways. Some people would go through that kind of training and they would become very shrewd and very prudent with money. I kind of rebelled against it, and I felt, look, I'm going to spend and spend and spend when I start making my money. That was my money philosophy. But I was fortunate that I got married to a sensible person. Well, I was also sensible, but his own money philosophy was radically different from mine, and he was able to influence me. So he was a planner. He believed in spending. He would never spend it all. I mean, there are times we'll travel and it's like, okay, this is how much you are spending. This is how much I'm spending. We both have money to spend, and you can be sure that I'll finish spending mine by the second, third week. But I never bothered because I knew Dayo would always have extra. So I could always go to him and tell him, and then he tells me I don't have any. So I'm like, lie, I know you never spend it all. So he was, you know, very forward thinking, very prudent. He was a planner, and he was able to influence me. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So our money philosophies can change. That's what I'm trying to say. Regardless of where we're coming from, regardless of what we've been exposed to, regardless of what our experiences have been, if you've been a spendthrift, there can always be a turnaround. Your money philosophy can change, because all these things go a long way in affecting your vision. So when you have a vision of where you want to go and where you want to be, then I usually would say stretch that vision, stretch it a bit more, because it's whatever you see that you are going to get. And for those of us that are Christians, remember what God said to Abraham, as far as your eyes can see. And honestly speaking, I've tried that policy is one that really, really works. As far as envisioning is concerned, it is as far as your eyes can see. The kind of things we envisioned, the kind of visions we had, the kind of things we dreamt of. I mean, it took audacity to dream of those things, looking at where we were coming from. It took a lot of audacity. I mean, these are desires that you can't even voice to someone else because they'll think, who do they think they are? What gives her the right to imagine she could ever achieve such things? But remember that it is as far as your eyes can see. Don't use your current circumstances to determine your vision. That is the mistake we make all of the time. You take a look at where you are, you take a look at the things that are happening around you, and then you cap your potentials. And you just say, well, for people like us, we can't aspire to get to this level. And that is a big lie. That is a big lie, regardless of where you are coming from. I remember the first time we traveled as a family on vacation to the UK. And that trip in itself was like, if you could have gone with a motorway bus to London, we would have taken a motorway bus, because it was a trip that was born out of vision. We didn't have as much as those who would travel, on such trips had, but we desired it. So we couldn't take a straight flight. We had to stop over in Madrid. We stayed in the very cold airport till morning, to get another flight. We had very little to spend, but at least we were just thinking, let us shall go and come. And we can say we went. And I mean, our children could have that experience. It was magical to them. So you can imagine going on a trip, going for a trip on a shoestring budget. And then you get there the first time and your husband is saying, it would be nice to have a house in this country. I took a look at him like, I mean, in my head of that, I was just like, is he dreaming? You want to buy, But that is the extent to which he could dream. And then I remembered, okay, so he dreamt of this trip, you agreed it with him, and it has become a reality. What will it take you to agree with him that this can also happen? And so I quickly said, amen. So what am I trying to say? It's as far as your eyes can see. And no matter how far you see, God is able to bring it to come to pass if you will cooperate with him. I don't know why I'm stressing these points, but please stretch your vision a little bit more. What do you see? What do you see? Stretch it. Stretch it and make sure that you are not shortchanging yourself. Ask and receive until your joy is full, is what the Bible says for those of us that are believers. Now, so when you have this vision, and now I'm talking to people who maybe you're in a relationship with someone that is really important to you, so your significant other, maybe your husband, maybe your wife. And the mistake we make at times, the reason why we don't maximize is because we go solo. You have the vision is in your head. Your partner, your husband or your wife is not a witch. That person is not the witch of Endor. That person does not know what you are thinking. That person has no idea of, the crazy things or the wild things that are going on in your head. So it's your responsibility to communicate that vision. It's your responsibility to communicate it. So if you're going to work, because you see, the Bible says if two people are going to work together, there must be agreement. If there's no agreement, then you can't work together. And for there to be agreement, there must be communication. There must be communication. So that vision must be communicated. You should be able to tell this other person, this is what I think. This is what I'm thinking of. This is what I desire. This is what I believe we can achieve with some planning, with some, teamwork and all that. If the person does not know your vision, then it is like you are taking somebody on a trip and you are not telling the person this is where you are going. Then I can safely say you are a kidnapper. So many husbands have kidnapped their wives and they're just carrying her on a journey, on a mission that she knows absolutely nothing about. and you've turned her to a zombie. Or some wives too, I mean, you're dreaming of the good life. Your husband knows nothing about it. He doesn't even understand what is going on in your head. And so you are grumbling, you are angry because your reality is not tallying up with your dreams. But hey, did you communicate those dreams? Was there a discussion? Do you have, I don't want to say family meetings, but do you have times when you just, allow yourselves to dream and to roam around la la land and then ask yourselves, are we able to achieve these things? So it's important that the vision is communicated. And when it is communicated, it is also important that it is agreed. So it's one thing to communicate a vision, it's another thing to agree it. And remember, we're talking about financial visions now. I'm not even talking about ministry visions and goals. I'm not talking about your business. I'm saying, look, the way we want our financial lives to be, the way we want our finances to be agreed, the quality of life, the standard of life, of living that we want to adopt, is it agreed? Because when there's he's not bothered. He just thinks, I've said it, and that is what we're going to do. And I think even the ladies do that too. Maybe she's the one that is economically empowered at that point. If you want to buy it, you want to buy it, you don't buy it. So it's a process that takes time. But if you are consistent, if you are sure about that vision, you'll be able to carry that person along and you'll be able to sell the vision. Now, the point at which you sell at that point in time, your partner, that particular individual owns the vision because you did. That person has bought into that vision. It has become his vision. It has become her vision. I remember a long time ago, years down the line, I was still in paid employment then. And I was working with a financial institution that at the beginning of every year, you get like 70 or if not 80% of your income as upfront. And then it was a custom as a family, then my husband and I to sit down to say, okay, so what I'll use, this, what are we doing with this bulk in plan to build within the next, It looked like a tall order, but he said to me, look, we're living in a 2-bed apartment then, somewhere in K2. And from the time we moved into that apartment, he said, let's give ourselves 10 years. We'd move into a house of our own. Remember, I said something about vision, envisioning. But when he sold that vision, initially I was like, is this guy a dreamer? Where did I find him? That was my innermost thought, that how can you build a house in Lagos? We didn't have anything. And our jobs were not fantastic. He was still trying to grow his law firm, was trying to grow a client base for his law firm. I was earning 3,000 naira a month then, and you want us to build a house in Lagos, But at the point at which I bought into that vision, we decided to cut down on whatever was not necessary in our expenditure. So I was working in a company where and fortunately, the company paid well. It was a really nice company. And at a point in time, the drivers that we had in the company had better brands of car than the one I was driving. Then I had a 2-door Toyota Corolla. I think they used to call it First Lady then, or even, I don't think it was even as nice as the First Lady. 2 doors, almost like a sugar box, like that. That was the car. And we had drivers in the office that they will park their cars and then they will take us out. And then they get into their cars and they go home. that car. There's put me under pressure because at that point, I was not pressured. I didn't feel like I was losing out or anything. I knew what we were working towards, and a car was not my priority at that point in time. So because the vision had been sold to me, I could own it and I could exist. It had become a part owner of that implementation that you sell the vision to your partner. Now, remember I said something about assessments when I gave us the definition of financial harmony. So many times we just assume that because a couple, because you are married, then they should do everything together. Everything should be joint. And that is the ultimate. But many times you don't start from that level. You don't legislate that. When you legislate, have issues. To be able to maximize. And not on this, conduct your assessment. And this is high and what are my values and my circumstances. I told you my story. I had a very, very prudence is the only word I must use. And so, I felt like I don't ever want to be like this. I'm going to be. So, what are your values of this other person you are working with? What are circumstances? I remember then when we got married, I always, stories. I like to buy new clothes. Each time there's an occasion, a friend is getting married, I'd like to get a new outfit. And that also had its roots in my I have two older sisters. So when I was growing up, I always had clothes. My wardrobe was always filled with clothes, but there were never new clothes. That was a challenge because my eldest big sister will, down her own. Everybody is kind of upset notes. It was one I was going to compensate myself with. But so nobody remembers what you got them. And you can go for this wedding, this outfit. I say, but I wore it for Tony's wedding. You will tell me, this is Shola's wedding. The people that attended Tony's wedding are not attending Shola's wedding. So, and then at times you'll tell me, look at the bride's mother. Nobody is even seeing you at that wedding. They're just an attendee. So he helped me to reevaluate my views and to just re-examine the system I'd grown up with or that I'd formulated due to the circumstances of my upbringing. You are who you are. So it's okay to tell your husband, look, yes, I want us to work together, but there are some things I don't like it when I don't have money. I don't like to come cap in hand saying, please, I need 20 naira. I need 50 naira. I need to buy this. I must have a certain amount within which I can, I can spend, I can operate, I can exercise my rights of choice. I can make my decisions without coming back to you. So it's very, very important that you sit down and have these honest conversations and not just assume that you are both the same and that whatever you think is okay by you would be okay by that person. whether or not it's born with a silver, especially a big issue. When I did a book recently, if personally you would permit me, I'll like some of, those who are interested to get the book. And I chronicled a lot of these stories, and there's this particular one, rich girl, poor guy. At times, it looks like a very romantic family. The guy and all that, but there are a lot of that come into play that are challenging. So if your husband is if you are a silver spoon isn't, you consider an AC to be a necessity. He thinks it's luxury. So you see, these are the issues you need to resolve. What is a necessity? What is a luxury? What are we going for? We doing, so that at the end of the day, whatever mode try to run, both parties happy. So I'm giving you examples of conversations. Yes, I'm just examples of the type of conversations you should be having. You should consider your responsibilities. For instance, okay, so maybe a guy's his own retirement plan. As far as they are concerned, they don't have any plan. Shegun has started working to take care of all our needs because they gave him everything they had. And your own responsibilities are practically nil. Mommy and daddy are in the UK enjoying their retirement years, don't need anything from you. So if you give them a but it's not like they need any from your siblings, don't need to collect school fees and all that. You may find out that when it comes to working as a team, there may be freedom. So you need to sit down to discuss the fact that, look, this is, as far as my son, all these the next 5 years, this is the burden I'm going to be bearing. Is this woman ready to come along with you, or is this man ready to absorb somebody with every month may not really giving it's your duty, but that 10,000 naira to them is just, oh, thank God we have a sensible daughter. The people that are being given 100,000 naira, that may be all they live on, and maybe they have 5 that from that 100,000 feed. So it will not be fair to just say it has to be 50-50. You must take your side. There it is. Into consideration. Then take a look at your job or your career profile. Hello, are you still with me? I hope I'm not touched.
Yes, we're very much with
Thank you. Thank you. So take your job and career profile into consideration. For instance, so what kind of a job am I doing? What's my career profile like? Am I that is endangered? So that if you're in an industry that is endangered, both of you will borrow yourselves and it's like, hey, we can't be fine boy and fine girl at this level. We must look at ways of either diversifying or to put money into, or investment. We have to invest aggressively at this point because the future, quote and unquote, may not be so certain because of the kind of job you are doing or the kind of career you are in. So you have to, if you're in a state career or you work with an oil company, you are of the relax. But maybe And high-tech digital, you know that is likely to last long in this kind of an environment. So take your job and I made mention of the fact that would get the years. So yearly investment. So not wasn't much in eating out and doing that, because my take the end of them at the end of was not much. But we are in this. If I became cause of the year, was that we could bear it. It was done with you come at the beginning of the year, whatever. To fill out a place, if I saw people that were a monthly contribution, I couldn't do monthly, but I had been taken up front and had been invested in something. So you are not feeling uncomfortable because you know that job and your profile, this is the type of investment that you should be looking for, or the plans you should be having. Income dynamics, very similar to what how does it come? So that know what you have to get into. Oh, if number of children, you should sit down and plan and ask how many children do we want to have? How do we cope with their education? I remember for a very long time, my husband would say to me, anytime I suggested something, maybe a bit grand or just wanting to go to town, he would tell me, we have 4 children. And at that point in time, most of our friends had 2, So he would say, look, we have 4. Most people, they have 2. The journey for us is not a short journey. So, we have to plan, At the point in time, it made me feel like it was long throats that pushed us, to have, but is that you should have an idea of what it will cost to put them through school. What kind of schools do you want them to attend? Those are the things that will determine yourself, and the way you will organize your finances. What are your personalities also matters. So if your appetite is this, if your appetite for whiskey is very, very, then you go to town and you invest in whiskey. I've long, but I've not been able to. Now, when you take decisions, if you make your assessments and you don't take decisions, you've done nothing. Because until you take decisions, until you actually decide, these are the things we need to do, and this is how we're going to go about them, then you've done nothing. So your decisions will affect your expenditure. What are we going to be spending money on? What are we going to be spending money on? I remember at the point in time, my office building, I was working in a company that a high-profile hospital like St. Nicholas Hospital, there's no way you will rest with the bill piling up. So I never took, and a lot of my colleagues at work would be like, oh, Mrs. A, why don't you just register with St. Nicholas next door? It sounded nice and convenient, but I could not because our expenditure profile could not accommodate it. So I respected myself and went to Lassuth and got myself a nice, each time I had to be on bed rest, I'll get an amenity word. They had their, it was far, maybe not 1/20, the cost of what I would have been paying at St. Nicholas. So when you take, it will affect your association. I won't dwell too much on this because, I mean, if you are a boy around town, fine girl, no pimple and spending dollars, you're not going to be able to do anything tangible with your finances. So you may need to change your association and hang around people like Pastor Niyi, like you are doing. And then it will affect your values, whether you like it or not. Your values will be affected. It will affect your plans, the way you plan, the plans you make. Want to accomplish in the next 6 years. I remember I was telling my husband, said in the next 10 years, we should build a house. We accomplished that goal in 9 years. But it was because, I believe strongly it was because we had set a timeline. We had said, look, by this time, this is what we want in this part of town. And much more than we even desired was what was eventually delivered to us. So it's good to make plans, counting on God for those plans to work. It will affect the choice of schools for your children. High standard, beautiful values, nice boarding house schools when they were in their secondary school, because we decided we would rather save towards their tertiary education in the UK. So you have to, it will determine your choice of schools. It will determine the choices you make generally, not even of schools. It will determine your investment profile. What am I going to be investing in? So at the point at which we started planning for our children's education, we decided, because it was going to be long term, we invested in real estate for their education, because we knew, look, it will take them this number of years to get, to go through secondary school, to get into the university. So, I mean, if I invest in stocks, okay, yes, stocks too can be long term. But what we did, well, maybe because I practiced in that industry, I mean, I had a good idea of the kind of investments we could make that would pay off. So it will determine your investment profile and the particular investment. I mean, you won't do anything, you won't do MMN, you won't do anything risky when you know that we've taken the decision and, this is what we want to do. It will affect your appetite. It will affect your appetite. And I'm going to tell you a short story here. Talking about appetite, there was a particular year we decided, I mean, we just felt, okay, so let's change our cars. And we decided my husband was going to buy a Prado, I was going to buy another Prado. I mean, we had the money tied up. And then we went on a trip. And then we realized, I mean, then the US was in recession. And we realized, come to think of it, this money we have put aside for car can actually do something substantial in this environment. Our appetite changed. And we decided, look, rather than go for these luxury items that depreciate in value over time, let us plug into something that appreciates. And that investment today is like maybe about times 50, and I'm not exaggerating, the amount that we would have invested. And if we had bought those luxury items, that investment would have reduced to maybe 1 million naira by now. So it will affect your appetite. You will cut, I mean, by the time we realized what was possible, we said to ourselves, there's no policeman that will arrest me for driving my Toyota Yaris. So, hey, car, continue with your work. And coincidentally, I mean, those cars are still functioning today as I speak. They're still functioning. So what am I trying to say? Your appetites at times, will take to some adjustment by reason of the assessments you've done and the decisions you've made. I need to rush. I'm running out of time. And then it will affect who handles your finances. And this is very, very important because you see, many times we assume that because the man is the head, he must be the one calling the shots. He must be the one in charge of investment, in charge of spending, in charge of planning. It does not need to be so. Who is more prudent? Who is more sensible? Who is the planner? Who is gifted in that area out of the two of you? Don't cut your nose to spice your face. If your wife is the one that is prudent, is the one that is sensible, is the one that is a planner, is the one that is investment minded, please let her handle the finances. As long as, like I said, you are all in agreement, you've gone through this process, you've done your assessment, you've had your honest conversations, you've taken your decisions, those decisions would reflect in who handles your finances. So anytime, when it comes to our finances, I leave it squarely to my husband, honestly speaking, because he's sensible. If we're traveling, I need money and I stretch out to my hands. The way we are, trying, okay, don't buy this, we'll buy this, don't do that, we'll do that. He worries about all that because I don't have a head for that. I just want to spend. So I leave that to him because that is his area of strength. So if that is your area of strength, go ahead. If it's not your area of strength, if you know you can't say no, if you know, you are when it comes to buying, you just buy. There's a word for it. Oh my God, what's wrong with my grammar today, Pastor Nee? What's wrong with me tonight? When you keep buying and you keep buying.
You are perfectly okay.
I'm perfectly okay. Okay, so if you know you can't say no and you are just not so disciplined when it comes to spending and all that, then please let the individual that has a gifting in that area handle the finances. And then implementation, very, very key issues. If you don't implement, then you've done nothing. So there must be accountability. And many times, men and women, they shy away from working as a team with their spouses because they don't want to be accountable. They don't want anybody asking, so why did you buy this? So what did you buy this for? Oh, so how much did you buy this? And all, I have a lot of stories in that area. Women wanted to buy gold, you want to buy jewelry, and maybe the decisions we've taken doesn't support that. I'm not a saint. I've done some of those things. They're in my book. It's confession time. I've done such things. But what I'm trying to say is that there must be accountability at the end of the day. And when there's accountability, there will be transparency. And then you must be able to sit down and review. How well have we done? How well have we done? Take a look at your circumstances. Are we better off? Are we better off? How did we start? Where are we? Have we achieved our objectives? And you must always be ready to make sacrifices. It's very, very important. Nothing good, quote and unquote, comes easy. You must be willing to make this happen. Like I said to you, at a point in time, we wanted to buy some vehicles. We didn't buy, and we're still pushing our old vehicles. And so that is a sacrifice. For our children's education, we've made sacrifices because the vision we had is to achieve this. And as those visions are being accomplished, the sacrifices are being proved to have been worth the while. So when you sacrifice, you would also reap. It's a timeless principle. When you reap, you will sow. So when you don't sacrifice anything, when you eat your seeds, then you won't have anything to harvest when the time comes. So there will be a time for harvest. There will be times for reinvesting. When you harvest your investment, please have it at the back of your mind. Always retain a portion to invest again. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So maybe you bought a plot of land for 2 million 10 years ago. Now you are selling it and it's going for 40 million. Don't take the 40 million and eat it up. You know, retain a 4 million, a 5 million, and buy another plot of land. So always be mindful of reinvesting. And the big word, synergy. Synergy, it is important. You see, when you don't take advantage of the law of synergy, then you will be clapping for yourself, thinking that, oh, with one, I was able to chase 1,000, and you'll be singing your praise song by yourself. I used one, I chased 1,000, and you know your head is going big. Meanwhile, you plus that person should have chased 10,000. So some of us are dancing because two of us we chased 1,500. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be chasing 10,000. Yeah, we're not maximizing. And many times it's because we don't come together as a team. We don't come together as a team. We're not willing to be accountable. Are you as a couple chasing 1,000 or 10,000? I remember there was a time my husband felt like he felt like his office environment was limiting his opportunities. And then we sat down and we said, okay, so why don't we move office from where you are? The issue was, his office was in K2. And I mean, for those who are in Lagos, K2 is a very densely populated area. I mean, the profile of your clients is not anything to ride home with. And so, I mean, at times you even work for some clients, they are not paying. They are not able to afford your services. So, you know, it was just very, very frustrating for him. And, you know, because I said he's a man of vision, you know, small man, you know, envisioning big things. His dream was to move his office to Victoria Island then. And it looked like a very wide leap. How do you move from K2 to VI? And even that K2, it wasn't even paying rent. It was the BQ of the house. So how do you move from a free space to paying rent on Victoria Island? Well, because we were a team, because we were working together as a team and we were determined to chase our 10,000, we decided, okay, for that particular year, this bulk upfront payment, let's you know, put it into an office space on Victoria Island. And that was what we did. And within his third month of being in that office, he got one brief that paid rent for that space for 2 years. One brief was in millions. And because he changed his environment, the story of his career changed entirely. Now, wow. That was achieved because we were working together as a team. Now, some years down the line, I decided to leave that job where they were, you know, paying upfront and all that. I decided it was time to exit into the business world. I decided I was going to go into real estate agency, start out a real estate agency. And so I resigned my appointment and he was able to give me a space within that office in Victoria Island to start up my practice. And so one day we met someone who said, so Bisi, what are you into now? And I said, well, I want a real estate agency. And he said, oh, give me your card. He took a look at my card and said, oh, you're on VI, you must be doing well. I had just started. I wasn't doing well. He took a look at the others and said, you must be doing well. There's something there's a place I would like to refer you to. Come over and let us discuss. He referred us for a job, gave his personal guarantee for us to do a job with a turnover of about 2 billion naira. And this is not a story. It happened to us. You know, so what am I trying to say? Maybe if for whatever reason I thought I was helping him when he was moving his office to that location, I was actually helping myself and the destiny of our family. because that transaction turned around a few things and made much more than we dreamt possible for us. So if I was saying, oh, this money, this upfront is my money, I shall not let go of it, I would have denied myself and my children the awesome opportunities that have come our way by reason of the fact that I started out my practice in an office on Victoria Island that isn't mine, or well, that was my husband's, and I mean, for which I just got a little space to start off from. So when you work together as a team, much more is delivered to you. When you refuse to, you cheat yourselves. And in many cases, without knowing it, you rob your children of the future and the opportunities that should be there. So are you chasing 1,000 or you are chasing 10,000? I think I should stop here because, delayed gratification and all that. Maybe there'll be some other time when I'll be here with you to discuss.
Just go ahead. You have like 5 more slides to finish.
Yes. Okay. So I can run through.
Tonight is our last night, so we can stay as much as.
Okay. Okay. So how do you maximize your financial opportunities? Be investment minded. It's very important. If you don't invest, investment is the key through which the future is assured when it comes to finances. And don't tell me I don't have the big money to start out with. I remember the very first investment we made in real estate was 15,000 naira. And it was because, my husband prepared he's a lawyer, by the way. So he prepared the agreement for a land-owning family, and they were supposed to pay him 15,000 naira. Now, because it was the early years of our marriage, I mean, when we never really had enough. The truth was we were perpetually broke then. And so for every money that was coming in, there was always something, earmarked, already waiting. So we had planned that for that 15,000 naira, it was either we were planning to buy a deep freezer or a washing machine. And then later I said to him, I said, look, washing machine, there's nothing wrong with my hands. I can wash. Let's buy deep freezer. That was the plan. And because we couldn't have the two. But then this particular day, he came up and he said, oh, that the family gave him the option of giving him a plot of land instead of paying him 15,000. Because they were selling that plot of land somewhere in Lekki, for 15,000 naira. So they said, lawyer, do you also want a plot of land? So both of us were like, land. Okay, well, let's take it now. A deep freezer can sit down. The house, K2, not too far from our 12. We will be I'll be going to the market. I won't be able to store food, but it's okay, at least we'll know that we're landowners. And so he got that plot of land for 15,000 naira. And years down the line, when our second son was going into uni in the UK, some of the funds we were expecting was delayed. So we put that property up in the market and it sold for, I think, 8 million naira.
Wow.
And then I took a look at that 8 million naira and I said to my husband, I said, sweetheart, do you know how many deep freezers we can get from this 8 million?
Wow.
How many washing machines we can get? And then we took a look at it. The cost of a deep freezer then was 15,000. Maybe by the time we sold, the deep freezer was going for like maybe 100,000, 90,000. And I said to myself, I mean, the price has only gone up by maybe 600%. But I mean, comparing 15,000 naira to 8 million naira, do you know how many folds that was? And then I'm asking myself, what if we didn't make that investment? Maybe my son would have lost that admission and he wouldn't have been able, to start off his college degree when he eventually did. So when you invest, you are you are securing the future. You can't afford not to be investment minded. The Bible says a foolish man spends it all. And there's much oil in the dwelling of the Pastor, you help me out with that scripture.
The
The wise, thank you. But that the foolish man spends it all. So it's foolishness to spend all. No matter how little you earn, just have it at the back of your mind. I must put something aside. I must put something aside, and over time, it will grow. So please be investment minded. Start at any level you are. Nothing is too small. I mean, we do more. We can do what one step. Just what if. So I usually would say to people, target of your income, minimum 20%. And I got that from the principle, Joseph adopted in Egypt then. Do 20% and over time you build it up. You can invest in the money market, the capital market, real estate, mutual funds, or just make sure you are putting something aside. I mean, can you imagine pounds is 602 naira today? And at the beginning of this year, there's this contribution that I do. So we must be money minded, be conscious of what is going on around you. And realized that the FX market was going to experience a major shift. So I told the people that I do the Ajo with, I said, I will not do it this year. I'm only going to do it this year on the condition that I take my own collection first. If it's not going to be possible, it's okay. And I mean, I made that clear and they considered. And at the beginning of the year, I got mine and I bought pounds at, maybe it was 450 or thereabout. It wasn't up to 500. I think it was 450. Can you imagine? The same pounds is going for over 600 now, which means 25% of the value is lost for those who are just collecting their own Ajo at the end of this month. So I've been able to secure additional value for my contribution. So you must be conscious of what is going on around you and be mindful of the fact that you can multiply your investment. Practice delayed gratification. Delayed gratification, it is key. Great things happen to those who wait. You may not have it then, but you will have it later. It doesn't mean you won't have it anymore. But what it just means is that you will have much more than what you were planning to have. So learn to say, not now. Invest in the things that matter first, and then let the luxuries come after. That's the way to secure your future. Don't eat your seeds. Make sure there's always a reserve from every harvest. Don't eat it all up. Put something aside. Invest in assets and not liabilities. I've explained that if you buy a luxury car, it's a liability. So I say to people, buy those things when you really, really, really can afford them. There was a time I wanted to take a loan. Oh, that's another interesting story. I was going to take a loan to buy a car. Then RAV4 was the in thing happening in town then. And then I saw a friend of mine, she just bought one, and I mean, I couldn't sleep after that. I was dreaming of myself in a RAV4. And then, I mean, the company I was working with, very beautiful company. I mean, I just said, look, I was going to take a car loan, and they said I should apply and all that. And the loan was approved, some millions of naira, and I was going to buy a RAV4. So I mentioned this to my husband, and he was like, why do you want to invest in something that is a liability? I said that this particular person bought one, I liked it. I said, when did your friend start determining the brand of car? He said, well, if you want to, you can. But I mean, it really didn't make sense to him. And I could see that he wasn't really in support, but he wasn't going to say don't. You know, I knew he wouldn't say don't. You know, so, and I just paused and I said to myself, really, Bisi, who are you trying to impress? you know. So I decided not to take that loan. It wasn't quite 6 months after that I decided to leave paid employment. If I'd taken that loan, I would not have been able to leave paid employment because I would have been owing. And if I had even sold that WAB, I would not have been able to raise as much as I took from the company to buy the car. So it's important. Yes, luxury, it's good to have luxury items. It's good to live big, but don't put the cart before the horse. Go after assets first. Those assets will pay for all the luxury items that you are trying to have. And then remember to celebrate your achievements. Don't be too hard on yourself. Let there be times when you let down your hair, when you splurge, when you give yourself treats, take a break, go on vacation. Life is for the living. So don't be too hard on yourselves. But please plan with your spouse. Come together as a team. Once there's financial harmony in your family, most of the time there would also be peace. And most of the time there will be abundance. And that will be your story by the special grace of God. Thank you for having me tonight. It's a nice gisting with you. God bless you all.
Oh yeah. Someone said they can see me dancing.
Ah!
What a fantastic way to close this meeting, money series. Wow, 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 wow. Just imagine if we didn't allow her finish her slides. The sweetest part is what she didn't want to say. Wow. Sister Bisi, thank you so much.
A pleasure.
Well, I don't know how you want my people to stay in touch with you because they're already asking, how do we stay in touch with our speaker? So if you want to share, whether it's your social media.
Yeah, I'm on IG, the Bisi Adebayo.
If you can type it or say it, Tosin will help us type it. Tosin is listening. So say it again.
The Bisi Adebayo on IG.
Bisi Adebayo.
The Bisi Adebayo. THEBC Adebayo.
Okay, THEBC Adebayo. IG.
Yes. Facebook, just Bisi Adebayo.
Okay, the Bisi Adebayo.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Tosin got it at the Bisi Adebayo. Small, small letter B though.
She always gets it. Thank you so much. All you guys, please make sure you stay in touch with her. She is a blessing to my life, and I'm sure she'll be a blessing to you. Look, not just all the ladies here. I mean, everybody. You want to talk to her. You want to pick her mind. You want to look. You know, sometimes we men, we are very careful who our wives are talking to. Because you feel that if they stay too long with that person, there's going to be kata in the house, trouble in the house. I can assure you one of the best places you can send your wife to and be rest assured that she's safe, you are safe, the family is safe, everything is safe, is with Bisi Adebayo. Is with Bisi Adebayo. Push her there. Any woman, my friend, my protege, that is okay, I need a woman. Okay, don't worry. I call her. Sister Bisi, I'm sending somebody to you. I'm sending somebody to you. And good. And she's been a fantastic blessing. Somebody saying that somebody knows you. It's the 27th anniversary as a married. Okay, I saw your handle. Okay, the way to your handle. Now know that you are 27. Can you imagine? Awesome. And our kids are fantastic. You will love to be around them. You will love them to be around you. Fantastic kids. Thank you so much, Sister Bisi. Now, guys, it's time for you to bombard her with your questions. This is the time to ask, what are the things that she said that you don't fully understand? Let us drill her right now. Let us get something out of her. So if you want to really ask some questions, you know how we do it. Just raise your hands on the chat room, and then somebody's saying, "I'm not even married yet. So what do I do?" She has all the questions. She has all the answers to your questions tonight. So, or you don't want to answer straight, you just want to go to the chat room. I'm sure Tosin is watching the chat room right now, waiting for your questions there. But guys, I need to see some hands up right now so that we can ask her the questions, the questions, the questions, the questions. Okay, Tosin Babalola, interested.
Okay.
Okay,
Good
Tosin
evening, ma.
Babalola,
Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I have two questions. First of all, I'd like to know some of the justifications that some women have for not disclosing the entire total of how much they earn, especially in marriage. Some women have justifications for this. What are these justifications, and what are the ways to counter, these justifications that they come up with? That's the first question. Then the second is about leverage, in starting a business. How long should you leverage? And how much should you leverage? This is what I mean. If I start a business and a major part of my costs, right, is borne by someone else. Maybe there's a housewife somewhere, she has a fruits and smoothie business, and then her labor is free because she has a nanny or house help in the house who is on a salary paid for by the husband. And so she's leveraging on that, but then she's not factoring, maybe she's factoring it into the selling price, right? And she's able to maximize profit, but how long should that continue, in any business?
Okay. You want me to take that, or I take all the questions and I
So take it, we take it one after the other. Just take it before you done others go.
Okay. So I'll take the first one first. The reason why some women don't disclose, their income, and the reason why they are reluctant to cooperate and, to work as a team with their husbands. It takes two to tango most of the time. It's usually because, you see, for every relationship, I like to say that the bedrock should be friendship. And when there's friendship, there's most likely going to be transparency. There's going to be the freedom to express your perspectives. And it's easy, it will be easy for the two parties to discuss and reach an agreement on practically any issue. But many times we have this traditional, yes, I'll call it a traditional belief system that the man should not be questioned, that the man, is like the Kabiyesi. He says what he wants, and whatever he says, whatever he wants becomes what gets done. So what happens in situations in which women don't have a say? When they're not able to honestly express their opinions and their perspectives, when they're not free enough to, to sit with you and plan, and knowing fully well that their opinions matter and that they will be taken into consideration in reaching a final decision, in implementing and all that. Once they're not sure of that, it's just natural. It's a natural self-preservation instinct to hold back. So it's a sign of insecurity. And that insecurity can only be cured by the man being fair, being open, being considerate, and being reasonable. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's very easy to say, oh, the woman should submit, Yes, but what happens when the man is unreasonable? How does a woman submit to an unreasonable, ungodly, and irresponsible husband? Because many times you see situations in which some men will even say, look, what they believe submission means is that your total pay package should be handed over to the man. And then he gives the woman what he thinks she needs to spend. And so it becomes like a servitude. And this is not a women's conference. If it was a women's conference, I would have shared on the way to submit to a man that is unreasonable and that is ungodly or that is irresponsible. Because you see, some men, I mean, they take the money, he goes buy some designer stuff.
Share, ma, please share. And there are women here, we know we can.
School fees are not yet paid. But the man has taken all the money and he's going to have a good time. Maybe even spend it on some women's out there. How do you expect the woman to cooperate?
There are 3 comments on the chat section right now. People want you to share.
Okay, so I'll share
how to submit to an irresponsible,
I have your permission,
ungodly man. Personally, said I should watch the chat. So that's what I can see on the chat.
Okay. Oh, somebody said the men are ready to learn. Okay, so let's go. Let's roll then. Let's go for it. You see, my biblical, I like to support with the scriptures whatever it is, that I believe is a solution to a particular challenge. And I believe this challenge was squarely addressed by the account that was rendered in the gospel of Abigail and Nabal. Abigail was a typical example of a godly woman. The Bible referred to her as being intelligent, beautiful appearance. I mean, she must have just been a totally beautiful, intelligent woman. And if you read the entire story, you'll realize she was quite sensible too, and her words were graceful. She knew what was going on around her. There was no CNN then, yet she knew that David had been anointed king, even though it wasn't public information then. She knew he was the waiting king. She knew all that was going on. She knew that Saul was seeking to kill him. She was aware of her environment. She was an intelligent woman. And the Bible also told us she was married to a lousy guy. When the Bible describes a man as being lousy, as being, more or less a scoundrel. So it was clear she was in an unsuitable match. She was in a relationship that couldn't have given her so much joy and happiness. But she remained in that marriage. She didn't leave that marriage. But how did she survive? How did she remain a graceful, beautiful, comely and intelligent woman in the midst of a toxic marriage, quote and unquote? How did she cope? Number one, I believe squarely that she was empowered. She had her own. Because the things she took to David when she was going to meet with him, when she was going to, meet him along the way to make peace with him and prevent him from hurting her family members, the things she took did not belong to Nabal. I doubt that they belonged to Nabal because she wouldn't have had access to them. But the Bible recorded that she went in, she took all those things. I believe they were hers. So I believe she was empowered. Number two, the Bible specifically told us that she did not tell Nabal where she was going or what she was up to, meaning she managed information. So I will not say she lied, but there was some information that she knew she had to conceal because this man would not be able to handle that information. So she managed the information. And then she had a support system. Within that toxic marriage, she had a support system. She had people who would tell her, this is what has happened. There's danger looming. This is what Oga has said. This is what he has done. This is the danger that is looming. She had informants. She did not bury herself she was not an ostrich. She didn't bury herself in the sand of her unhappiness. She did not allow that to overpower her or take away from her the will to survive and to flourish. So she had a support system. She was also realistic. She took a look at her situation and she said, my husband Nabal is a fool. She knew she wasn't deceiving herself. And many times we deceive ourselves. You are in a certain situation, you know, the person you are married to would not parent, would not do anything. And then, he's totally irresponsible. And you are still saying, it's whatever he wants that we will do. And you jeopardize your future, you jeopardize your children's future in the process. So your children they're at home, they are not going to school, the man has no plans for them, and you are not getting up, you're not sitting up to do anything. You're still saying the man is the head. And that's another table that I may shake on Friday. Personally, headship is different from leadership. The man is the head. He may not be the leader. He may not have what it takes. He may need to grow into that leadership subsequently. But at the beginning, he may not be able to operate within that space because he's limited by virtue of his own experience, his outlook, and maybe some adverse childhood experience, maybe some things he went through when he was growing up. He may eventually be able to acquire leadership skills and play that role, but it may initially not be. The wife may actually know better. She may be the leader. So in Abigail's case, she was able to tell herself the truth that, look, this is my situation. This is the marriage I found myself in. I don't know how she ended up in that relationship. Maybe it was an arranged marriage, but for whatever reason, she was married to a fool. And she happens to be an intelligent person, but she did not deceive herself. So she was like, okay, so what do I do in this situation? She borrowed herself some brains, learned to manage information, got herself empowered, became aware of her environment. She was very, very conscious of what was going on in Israel then. She must have gone to the equivalent of Pastor Niyi's Speakers Academy, because by the time she downloaded, by the time she downloaded her speech to the king, she said, Lord, let your life continue to be tied in the bundle of the living. You know, her words were graceful. David did not forget that encounter. And I wasn't surprised that he sent for her when he became king and when her husband, had died. So what am I trying to say? There is a wisdom with which to manage situations and circumstances. When you are married to a man who is not responsible, who is not reasonable, who is not trustworthy, then you need to call yourself to a conference and decide on some survival strategies. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Well, I am so much in a giving mood tonight. Many people have been asking for the link and the what's it called, the recording. Don't worry, we're going to give you this recording for free. Just make sure that your email are with us. Once we have your email, we'll send you the link. So if you don't have it right now, they'll be sharing the Telegram link. So if you join us on Telegram, you will get the link to this. Interestingly, it's actually the men that are actually asking for the link. Whether they want to listen to it themselves or whether they want to give it to their wives, there must be a reason why they are asking for it. So if you don't have your email, if we do not have your email, I know you're sending me a private email. I may not be able to do anything with that private email right now. Just get and follow at our, what's it called? Telegram. They're sharing it there right now on the Telegram link. Once you get there, they'll be able to share with you the link to this program tonight. We're not going to put it, even if we're going to put it in our digital library, this particular one is absolutely free. Absolutely. Well, tonight is the last night, so I could even throw away. I could even do a lot of free things for everybody to just enjoy. Thank you so much, Sister
There's a
Bisi.
second question about leverage.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's going to do that. She's going to do that. But there's something you said tonight, that being the head does not necessarily make you the leader. Wow, that's very powerful. And I'm looking forward to hearing that on Friday. I'm so looking forward. Don't tell them here so that they can come on Friday. Don't scatter everything here. So for those of us who are here, who are not in the business community, all members of the business community will be able to zoom in to the leadership bootcamp on Friday and Saturday from 8 a.m. actually to 5 p.m. every day, from Friday and Saturday for free. So what you need to do right now is to go to the chat room, and Blessing Sunday is sharing some things on the chat room, and join the community. Tonight is the last night, last night we're going to be having the money series, and the last picture was the last time we had the leadership series. So we're stopping that. So all our activities are moving to the community. It's the community right now that will be having our weekly meetings, and that is not going to be publicized like we do right now. So please join the community. Just about 50,000 naira. 50,000 naira, you have access 90 days. Now, when we say access 90 days, from the day you join, you have access 90 days. Not just that alone. You also have access to all the programs that we've had in the community. And we had about 10 programs, 10 different speakers. So you have the link to all those programs. What it means that you're having 90 days forward and probably 30 or 40 days backward. So it's not 90 days alone. You're having over 120 days with your 50,000. Look at it. Anybody who's not in the community who wants to be part of our the leadership bootcamp Friday and Saturday, Zoom meeting will be connecting with us 50,000 naira. So we're saying 50,000 naira to connect to a bootcamp, 50,000 naira to be in the community. So you just pay us one, and then you are in the bootcamp and you are also in the community for 90 days. Isn't that so generous of me at this time? Even if you don't see that as being generous, I think I can tell myself that is being so generous. And to make it to put icing on the cake, this link is also going to be given to you for free. So any one of us who have more questions, please let us go to the let's just raise our hands so that we can take your question, and then as we wait for Sister Bisi to answer the second question on leverage. Over to you, Sister Bisi.
Okay. So the second question, it's very difficult around here to just start out a business without some form of support, either by way of relationships or even going cap in hand to the financial institutions. I made mention of the fact that I was fortunate to be able to start out with an office space that was loaned to me by my husband then. But what I always advise is, even if family and friends are helping out, maybe by giving you some interest-free loans or making their premises available for you to use, you should attach monetary value to whatever it is that you are not directly paying for. So it's also very important not to be leveraged too high. Don't take too many loans. Don't let it be that a business that is just starting out is dead on arrival by virtue of the fact that, I mean, you are so highly leveraged, you've taken so many facilities and you are struggling to pay back and to make ends meet. It's important to start small and grow big. Start small. Start with whatever you have. Many times people rush into taking office space when they can still operate from home. I mean, like I said, I operated from my husband's office for so long. By the time I was moving out, I had bought an office space. I wasn't renting. So it's important to take advantage of the opportunities that are around us. Fortunately, it's a virtual world now. I have an office, but maybe I work once or twice a week at the office. I work basically from home. And we're all realizing now that there's so much that we can do from home thanks to technology. So even though I have a large office space, I'm looking for, we're starting a hub. We're looking for people to come in and share that space with us, because now we realize it's much more than we need. I mean, there's generator 24/7, there's Wi-Fi 24/7, and I'm saying to myself, 2 other companies can operate from this same building eventually. So it's also another way to maximize your opportunities. So when you are starting out, as much as possible, don't start with a huge overhead. And that overhead, I mean, would also be heavily influenced by the type of accommodation you are using, the kind of resources, that are at your disposal. Go into those things. Let it be obvious that you really need these things, and then you go for them. But don't start out. I knew of a real estate company that started about the time we started, and they started in a big way. They fizzled out fast. And to the glory of God, we've been around about 15 years now, and we're still going strong. So, but at the time, I remember I didn't even have a staff. And then later, I took on one person, and then later, took on more. So it's important that you are not too heavily leveraged. I mean, it puts unnecessary pressure. And then if you're not careful, it takes away from the motivation, because you are making the money, but you are paying it out as carrying costs, interest repayments. And that in itself can, dampen your morale.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Bisi. Guys, if you have questions, please go to the chat room or the participant column and raise your hand. There was a particular point you said something about your business card opening the door for you, and when they saw the business card, it's not how beautiful the business card was.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
It was not how beautiful your business card was then. It was not the color. It was just because you had
just the location.
It was
the
location.
Said, oh, you're from VI? Wow, you must be doing well. Was I going to say no? Of course, I didn't say no. I was just nodding, like an agama lizard. And then,
yeah. And then, you know what? That started from the fact that when your husband felt that K2 did not represent who he was at that time, he wanted to stretch and go to VI. And then most times when we see people killing their spouse more or less is by saying, no, you can't go. They are more like insecure when the other person is trying to make progress. But look at it, you helped him, you supported him in making that progress, not knowing that that progress is actually your progress, not actually his progress, because in his progress, you also got a deal when you were occupying one cubicle in the VI office. But just imagine if you guys had fought, and then you are saying, no, we need to save money, you need to be humble, you need to just be where you are right now, and don't let us move to Victoria Island. Probably somebody will have seen your card with K2 on it, and will have said, no, this person is not supposed to be with us. So You also need to, if you don't mind, talk about that, how spouses can help themselves, how spouses can stay secure. Because actually, everybody should be happy when the other person is making progress. But most of the time, especially we men, most of us are insecure. Most of us cannot deal with a woman that is successful, a woman that is making progress. We feel so threatened. So how can you help us balance it? Help us, we men, be secured, and also help the women also know that sometimes they also need to realize that the success must not get into their head when they now come back and now say, you know what, I'm the one that went to work, so you go and cook, oh man, and everything, and then the man is waiting for, when my situation turns around, you will see what I will do. So how can you help us balance that? Secured men, and then women who are making headway should know that how do you make the man still feel as if he should not be threatened? I hope you get me.
So in answering that question, I'd like to go down memory lane a bit. And also remind you of what I said initially about the need to build our relationships on a foundation of friendship. And I'm sure this would help those of us who are single in making a choice. Make sure you marry your friend. It's important. It's not a cliche. It's just that, I mean, it gets more than half the job done. So we met when we were in school. I met him when I was 16, my first year in the university. We were classmates. And I mean, we studied the same course. We were practically in the same class. Though, I mean, he's older than me. I think he didn't pass JAMB on time. I hope he won't kill me tonight. What were you doing? How come you were still, how come you were in your first year? And then, okay, apparently was in another course in another uni and then decided to, to change course and had to start all over again. So we were actually classmates. So we started off being friends and that helped a great deal, a very great deal. Now, like I say, what comes round goes round, or what goes round comes round. You see, when we started out, he was sure that he wanted to build his law practice. He didn't want to work with anyone. He had the opportunity of working with the oil company that he did his youth service with, but he said he wanted to run a law practice. And so he started out. I, on the other hand, was working with another law firm and I was earning an income. Now, because he started out immediately after marriage, I mean, we had to be realistic. Remember I spoke about assessment. So in assessing our situation, I realized, hey, this thing they call monthly upkeep is not going to come from anywhere because he didn't have an income. He was just trying to grow his business. Okay, so once in a while, a client would come, he'll get some job done and he'll get paid. So it wasn't as if he wasn't making money, but his income was not regular. It wasn't monthly like mine. So when people talk about upkeep allowance, I never got any. If you see him, help me beg him. Maybe he will start paying me. I
will tell you. You will pay arrears.
I never, and it was not an issue because, I mean, I was the one that had the regular income. So it didn't make sense to complain or to grumble that, look, I'm not getting an upkeep allowance. Where did I expect him to get it from? So we were not following societal expectations. And so by the time his business became grounded, solid, and he could afford an upkeep, we had built trust to the point that I had access to everything. So why will I be asking for upkeep when I have access to the whole thing?
When you can take the upkeep.
When I can determine and take the upkeep, why should I? So I say to people, take your own peculiar situations into consideration. Don't let anybody legislate and tell you this is how it is supposed to be. You know, so when we started out, like I said, we were relying on my income, or we were relying on the income coming from my end, because it's really not your income. It becomes the family's income, because the family should be run as a nation. So
Hold on, Sister Bisi. Hold on, Sister Bisi. Hold on, Sister
okay.
Bisi. All ladies, write this down. When you're the one, when it is your income that is taking care of the family, it is not your income, it is our income. It is the family's income. So you need to write that down. All the ladies in the house, write that down. When the tithe is changing, it's as if the man does not have so much to offer. So don't get into a conversation and say it is my income we are spending. So the language has to change. It is our income. It's not even your income. You just want in and then have that. Because most of the time, ladies don't understand this. The way we talk sometimes, we don't mean harm, but we are causing harm because we don't know the tone with which we're saying it. We're bruising the man's ego. And I see a lot of that. The man is not making money right now. The woman is making money. And because of the attitude, the man is saying one day, when this thing change, when the table turns, then you will see. Now, while they are not making money, they are keeping quiet. But once the table turns, the ladies start complaining that my husband wasn't like that before, my husband wasn't like that before, but they do not realize the language that they've already spoken into the man that made him, that appealed to the beast in him. I'm not making excuses for them, but I'm just trying to point that point that it is our money. It is the family's money. It's just coming from
This
your
particular,
own part.
you're very right about that, Asani. You're very, very right. So by the time I moved on to a financial institution, and I mean, well-paying and all that, what that did was that it affected my availability to the family. And remember, we had very young children then. We're just starting our family, and we're popping them out every 3 years at that point in time. But my job was very, very demanding. It was well paying too, but very demanding. And what I appreciate most about him was that I wasn't under this negative pressure of, I've stayed too long at work, my husband will complain, or, I mean, I could do my work the way it should be done. I was a good staff. I won staff of the month several times. I got promoted often because I was not, I did not use the fact that I was a young mother as an excuse to shirk in my responsibilities. And that was basically because he stood up to support me then. Oh, he did a lot. Well, he happens to be a parenting enthusiast. His calling is along the parenting line. So he did everything for the children then. It was him they knew in their schools. He would take them to work. Even when we had nannies, the nannies would be in his office with the children. We never left the children unattended, And when he could, I mean, if I couldn't drive or maybe I was pregnant, he'll come all the way to the island to pick me. And I remember then my MD once was like, your husband is always so patient. He's so supportive. Everybody knew my husband was supportive of my career. He wasn't frightened. I mean, there was a time I was to speak at a women's meeting. I'd written my paper. It was a Saturday event. And the night before, my MD said I should report at the office. He took the paper and went to deliver it on my behalf. So he was very secure. And I think that was basically because we were good friends. We had, this is not a marriage conference. Of course, we had, it wasn't we were not perfect. We had our issues. So go and get my book. I can't be telling you all the stories.
Where's the book? Where's the book? Where's the book? Do you have a copy there?
Maybe when I'm through, I'll get up and okay. So let me make it.
You allow me to get up. Go and get it, please, so that we can have. Awesome. So, guys, where are the questions? I can see one on the chat room. I think one of the things that we also do for the people in the community is that we'll bring our husband. We should hear his own version of the story too. So we'll bring our husband to the community since we don't have another opportunity of having morning series again. This is our last morning series. So if you're not in the community, this is the best time for you to join the community. So one of the things that you enjoy joining the community is that you have access online to the what's it called, leadership bootcamp happening on Friday and on Saturday. So please just take 50,000 naira. You have access to the community for 90 days. It could even be more than 90 days. We're just using 90 days just to have a peg on what we want to do. So we need to have Brother Dayo also here to come and tell us his own version of the story. Come on, whether you are lying or you are telling the truth. So we have to bring him. I'm sure he's listening somewhere. I know. I can see your eyes.
So he's in another meeting. He's in another meeting somewhere around the house.
Okay, good. We have to bring him here one of these days to talk to us because his own side of the story needs to be heard also because he's doing a marvelous job.
Yeah.
So let's hear about your book before we take the next question.
Okay, so this is the book, Woman to Woman, a rich compendium of one woman's experience and perspectives. So I have about 37 stories and articles that I'd written, sharing my experience, sharing real life scenarios in on the areas of marriage, parenting, business, faith, and some general issues. So it makes for interesting reading. Don't care that I'm the one saying it, even if I say so myself. It's a very nice book. And
awesome. Two things you can do. If you share on the contact chat room how we can get this.
Okay.
And number two, so make sure you bring them on Friday.
Okay, yes, I will. Thanks for reminding me.
We're expecting roughly 100 people. So if you bring 100 copies, we should be able to push it out there. And then for tonight, you can share how we can get a private phone number or anything that how people can get it on the platform here. And someone is asking, do you have an audio version of it? Audio version
No,
of the book?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Let me see.
We're going to work on that. The person asking, Tony, we're going to work on that. She's going to get the audio version after it.
Okay.
That's an assignment we're giving her right now. And somebody asked a question in the chat room. He said, have you started investing before you got married?
Investing? No, I was a spendthrift. You didn't hear my story? No. Before then, I was, well, of course, I wasn't earning. I got married at 23. So, I barely worked for a year. And then I decided to pity the young chap and we got married. So before then, I wasn't investment minded. My money philosophy was, look, just make the money and spend it. I'm a spender. My husband is the one that is a saver. And that's where, you can bring the law of synergy to work for you. You rub off. But for him, maybe I would have wasted a lot of resources, but because he had a strength in that area, I was able to leverage, well, we were able to leverage on that, and we're able to, and so the point I also would like to quickly make is acknowledge the fact that you don't know everything, and that your partner, your spouse was sent to you to complement you and to help you out in certain areas. So when you operate like you know it all and you're not willing, to consider other perspectives and opinions, then you lose out in the long run. Because, I mean, we all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. Your personalities are most likely going to be different. And so you find out that one party's personality will be suited for particular areas of life, while the other person's personality will equally be suited for maybe other areas of life. So when you bring the two to bear, most of the time you are covered. But what happens is that we don't usually acknowledge, we don't accept, we don't want to, I mean, at times we're just hell-bent on not taking advantage of the opportunities that our partners have and taking advantage of the value that they bring to the table. We all bring value, whether you know it or not. You have some value that, I mean, like I keep saying, I mean, my husband, is the planner, he's the one that saves, he's the one he was only him that was investment minded until I learned from him. But there are some things he doesn't do well too, that I do so well that I cover together. And if you allow your little differences to deny you of that opportunity, then you would have lost out in a lot of ways, much more ways than you realize. Because you will always have those differences. Your personalities are different. And you see, by virtue of the fact that he is a planner and he's very investment minded and all that, if he's going to spend money, he wants to be given notice, he wants to know why, he's detailed. I am an emotional spender. I spend on impulse, I give, I'm a giver. And so we usually, in the past, we used to disagree on that a lot because I just want to spend. He wants to understand why, so most times I'm thinking, he's selfish, he's tight-fisted, he's too this, maybe he needs money, and I'm like, oh, I have 50K, and I give him the 50K. When I give people money, even if I say I loan you, I usually will not come back to say, where is my money? If you give me back, I'll take it, but I'm not the type that would go saying, so where is my money? Where is, it's not just me. But he would ask me, and I would be like, what kind of a human being is this? I gave you 50K the other time, I didn't ask, any questions. Now I'm telling you, I need 20K. You're asking me, what do you want to use it for? Is it? No, but that is his own nature. That is his own personality. That is not my own personality. So I shouldn't use my own standard as a basis for expectation from him. He's a very private person. He doesn't like just having a crowd around. He can stay home with his family and be okay for the next 1 month. I'm a people's person. So there was a time a friend of mine lost her sister, and I felt, oh, I want to bring her home and just nurse her back to joy. I felt like, just being a mother hen, our guest room was available. And I was like, look, I want to bring this person in. She's just gone through it. And he said, look, I don't want a strange face around because the person is not his own friend. That person is my own friend. He didn't want, and I thought, what kind of a wicked person is this? And so I went to report him to God, because you go to God sanctimoniously. I'm the nice one. I'm Sister Bisi now, the nice sister. That guy, that guy, that son of yours. And God said to me, that is who he is. You can't use your own standards to judge him. You like to do this. He's not like that. So, and he's not less of my son. He's not less of a good person by virtue of that fact. So you are different, but many times we don't acknowledge our differences. We don't celebrate our weaknesses. We allow for those weaknesses to drag us apart. And then we lose out in the long run. That's just
Thank you so much. Everybody, we're still waiting for how we can get your book. Probably,
okay.
What would you, if you don't, okay.
It's on Amazon for those who are outside the country and would, Woman to Woman by Bisi Adebayo, paperback and Kindle. It's on Amazon. But locally, if you want it locally, if you send a chat to 080, Tosin, will you help me, please? 080-861 77777. 7 in 5 places. I'll send you the Paystack link that allows you to order, and you get it in 24 hours. Yeah.
That number looks like my number.
Yes, our numbers are similar.
Okay, yeah, you have it there. Amazon, you can get it on Amazon, then you can get it on Paystack. Just send a chat straight to that number. Well, somebody's asking a question. What can you say concerning those looking at real estate as the next line of business? And any advice for singles struggling with their financial resources with their fiancés right now? I mean, they're already arguing. You can't buy that Chevy, you are buying it. You can't buy that jewelry, you are buying it. You can't buy that car. When are we going to rent that? I mean, they are supposed to start fighting before coming into the marriage. So the struggle, what advice do you have? And then the next line of business action when it comes to real estate.
Okay, so for those who are contemplating going into the real estate business, it's a very good area to operate. Very lucrative, very profitable. It's a service industry. So you really don't need a lot to start out. I mean, I started out with, I'm sure it was less than 20K, honestly speaking. I mean, all I did was to erect some to-let boards, and printed cards. I didn't even have an office then. It was later I decided, okay, let me operate from my husband's office. And I mean, business had started. So, and then the entry requirements next to nothing. I mean, you really don't need any form of certification as such. Although I say to people, it's good to learn the ropes from someone that is in the business, go for training and get to know. For every profession, there are tricks, of the trade that you should learn and that you should be conscious of how to steer out of trouble. It's a very lucrative area, but it's an area where you can lose all speedily too if care is not taken. The advantage I have is the fact that I'm a lawyer, so I'm able to, I know what to look out for. And I bring my legal training and experience to bear on my real estate practice. So it's a good area. Honestly speaking, it is good, but you must also be resilient, yes, tenacious. It may appear like you are just, doing a lot of work and nothing is showing, but once you get it right, it becomes an effortless stream of income. So please, it's a good area to operate in. I would strongly advise anyone contemplating that as a career. For investment purpose, it's a totally different ball game. I mean, we would have to review the entire economy. But then whether or not we're in a recession, I mean, the real estate sector still gets by. It may not be as interesting as it used to be, but we always see, because there are different income earning opportunities. So whatever happens, people still need a roof over their heads. And so it's an essential service. You're still able to make some good money. For those who are struggling, even those single, please pay for professional premarital counseling. The churches are doing good. They're trying. The family life ministries of churches come up with, marriage councils, but some of them are losing out on the professional input that trained counselors are supposed to bring to bear. Okay, so imagine what I said about Abigail. You are not likely going to be able to share that from a pulpit, because it's going to be like, oh, the pastor said the women should disrespect and disobey their husbands. They shouldn't tell him everything because he's not a good man. But the truth of the matter is there are very important aspects, to marriage. I'm sorry, something went off. So I'm sure my picture quality is a bit darker. I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry, your voice is not that.
And that's what matters. So there are a lot of other things that should come into bear on a premarital counseling session that we lose out on when you don't see professional counselors, professional trained counselors. We have tools that we work with that throw up likely areas of conflict, and gives you the opportunity to sit down to discuss those things even before they happen. So the fact that we are having issues now doesn't mean the man is not good enough for you or the woman is not good enough for you, but it's just a pointer to the fact that you both need to sit down and discuss and acknowledge that these are areas of likely friction, and determine what will be done, what your response will be to those situations if and when they eventually arise. So please, there's so much to say on that. I can't. See a professional premarital marriage counselor, all those things, all those areas will be thrown up, and you will know what to do. So
Wow.
invest in a proper counseling session. It doesn't cost that much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bisi. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And I can see Tolu Odubanjo here, who's already doing a marvelous job in helping you market your book and telling them that there is even sale order now. And the interesting thing is that Tolu Toro's platform tomorrow, 7 p.m. tomorrow. Tolu, you want to tell the people about that? So let them know that they can still see my face tomorrow. So can you help me unmute Tolu? They can still see my face tomorrow. Let us know about that so that after today you can't see me and this one again. You become community. You can also see me there. Okay, Tolu, you have to. Okay, good.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Thank you, ma. Although I was going to ask questions, but I just want to tell you now first that I've just ordered my own book.
Oh,
but it's on sale. I don't want to miss out. Tomorrow is going to be an awesome, best day of my talk show, best so far, because the birth of my talk show starts from this platform. I was encouraged, I was empowered, and I was single-handedly, trained by Pastor Niyi, and I can be boast of that anytime. So it's coming to my platform by God's grace tomorrow. I have been on top of the moon. I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. And, you know, people have been giving me credit for that. For even his picture alone is, in fact, my star is 5-star now. And when people saw it, my friends everywhere, they started contacting me that they are going to have like a party house, as in sitting together, gather together, because they are not on lockdown anyway, gather together to watch and buy popcorn and be munching and be watching, you know. So the topic for tomorrow is going to be empower, don't enslave. This topic is just something that's a bit personal to me, and I believe that Pastor Niyi might not be aware of this. It was one of his Thursday sections on leadership series that he was saying something. He was just lecturing and just talking to us, and he said, empower people, don't enslave. Then a lot of my topic has come from his show. I just have my big book. Anything he says, I just write down. I write a lot. So from whatever he's saying, I just pick a topic. And most of my topic for any of the talk show has been coming from this platform. And it's, oh God, Pastor Niyi is going to be perfect for this empower, don't enslave. So tomorrow he's empowered me, he's empowered a lot of people. Tomorrow he's going to be talking to us about empowerment tomorrow. Please, everyone, join in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Nigeria time.
Do you want to share the link? Oh, okay. You know what? Share the link on our Telegram.
Yes, on in the
community. I will post it on our Telegram so that people want to.
Okay. Thank you.
Please, opportunity to see me again on Zoom without paying for it tomorrow.
Okay, so, but can I ask my question now, ma'am? Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. I really appreciate you coming. You know, I'm sure Tosin too, Abby, women to women. Sincerely appreciate seeing a feminine face. Thank you so much, ma'am. More grace, more grace, more grace. My question is, you know, when you were talking about your husband not giving you allowance, I have never received allowance. I don't think my mother received allowance. I don't have that mentality. I wasn't brought up with that kind of thing. So I didn't go to I've been married for 17 years. I didn't go to my marital, you know, home, having the mind that my husband is going to be giving me money. I didn't hear from my mom that my dad gives money like that. I just know that our needs were met. So I am a very hardworking person. My husband too is hardworking. We're into business. He does his things. I do my things. And I know that I want to ask about challenges you face, you know, because I know definitely there will be challenges, there will be pressure here and there. I work with him, he work with me, he support me a lot. So, but it's a little bit labor. Let me watch out as you watched out too. It's not here anymore. When it comes to, I push him. I know it's very hardworking, but if think is hardworking is strength, the ego, the muscle, the agbára, but to me, that's not hardworking. Hardworking to me is when you don't procrastinate, when you do the things you are supposed to do on time, and when your targets are being met, you understand. And when there is a ladder for you to climb, don't wait, keep climbing. That's hardworking for me. So, and he will say, Tolu, all my efforts, all this, all that. I'm not a lazy person. To me, in my head, it's lazy. Do you understand? I think energy is the kidney, but to me, I'm like, you have things to be done. You are in your office, everybody is, he will say, Tolu, I need to, I can do this thing, my manager. I say, apply. There is vacant. Why are you waiting? Apply. There was a day somebody was here in the house and that person said, called me to a corner. I don't like the way you spoke to your husband. They don't know that I have to push him. When he needs to submit a CV that's supposed to be, it's going to close 12 midnight. And my husband was still on the couch watching CNN by 10 o'clock. And I've given him time. I said, submit the CV because I know he's qualified for that job. Don't just be ordinary manager. That person on top, you can. There's a vacancy now. Just go and apply. And I've given him time because I know I've done the CVO. I did the CV myself and everything. But the signature needs to be there and everything. I do his paperwork for him because I know that if I don't do it, just forget it. He will just be procrastinating. And so I help to reply his mails. I have to do proposal. I have to do a lot of things for him. But there are things that I will not do for him. So I told him, can you please submit? And he did something. And somebody said, I don't like the way you spoke to your husband. I don't know if you have challenges like that. And I said, just submit before. You have 30 minutes, submit. And I went upstairs to bed.
Okay.
You have challenges like that, man. I know what I'm dealing with.
So that you can understand where she's coming from. She's not, she doesn't live in Nigeria, she's abroad. Okay. So you should put that in perspective also. Answer the question.
I understand that perfectly. It's part of the things I spoke about when your personalities are different. And for whatever reason, I don't know how God did it, opposites usually just attract. So you have someone who is aggressive and maybe the other person is a bit laid back. I understand all you said about you thinking he's not working hard, because for you, working hard is working smart. You want him to, to work smart, to anticipate things, to be strategic, to be, focused and all that, and to follow through, to be tenacious. And you happen to have those qualities, he doesn't. And personally, this is a pointer to what I said about the man being the head and not necessarily being endowed with what it takes to be the leader. He can grow into that subsequently. I remember that at a point in time, because my husband happens to be the quiet type. He's very quiet, easygoing, kind of. And he's not even a Lagosian, but he's just, cool. The mechanics will cheat him. He's ready to let anybody, and I'm always the one fighting. You can't talk to my husband that way, blah, blah, blah. He won't, he's just calm, easygoing and all that. But you see, what happens is that for every strength, if I were to ask you, and I hope it's okay to call you Tolu, Mrs. Odubanjo.
Yes,
If I were to ask you, what were the things that drew you to your husband? What did you like about him when you started out? You're most likely going to say, oh, cool.
She's blushing.
Calm, very patient, and you say it with your eyes glowing and, your body doing giz because, that's the guy I fell for.
No,
many times.
I'm a very practical person. I'm a very, very practical person. I don't like sentiment when it comes to some things. But what happened is, what drew me to him is when we met in the university, my first day in the University of London, just like you. That was why I was smiling.
Okay.
So what are your dreams? What do you want to do? I was just saying it with my mouth. Then the next day, he came to my hostel. He said he wants to see me and brought out a notebook, a new notebook. And he wrote all my dreams out for me in the paper. I never wrote my dreams in the paper. I never wrote all the things I want. He wrote everything, page by page by page. And it was like reality. And that man swept me off my feet. And so I can't date somebody who cannot dream, who cannot think out of the box. So that was what drew me into him. But now I love being practical. I have to achieve all those things. What I'm saying is, I want to see them come true. He just wrote them. Even if he writes his own, he's not working towards it.
So I understand you perfectly. And you see, what happens in situations like that is some people need a little prodding, they need help along the way. And apologies to the men, formal research in that direction, but I see it being proved over and over again that at a certain stage, I think we women will mature faster than the men. And when I'm talking about maturity, it's not just physical maturity. I think we tend at a point in time to become more responsible and very aware of our environment. And if we're wise enough, if we apply the right level of wisdom, many times we bring up our men, we bring them up without them knowing it. You actually nurture them, and this is not just physical nurturing. You bring them up to the level and the standard that you desire for them to be. So when you offer encouragement, when you complain and you nag, many times without you knowing, it may appear like the man isn't changing, but he's learning. He's realizing how not to be. And that happens when a woman leaves a man and says, look, he's no good. He's this, is the, and she leaves. In some cases, maybe the man remarries and the woman is waiting that, no woman can go through what I went through. And you are waiting for that other woman too, to pack out or to one day decide, I'm sorry, I can't cope with this guy. And it never happens. What happens is that the man over time had changed with going by your complaint, your murmurings, your nagging, your speaking out, all that you have done over time was doing something, was changing something. It's just that many times we don't see it because maybe it's not happening as fast as we want it, or we don't even step back to review and say, oh, things are gradually getting better. But you get to a point at which you look back and you realize, oh, the version I have is a much more improved version. It's a better version because they mature into their place. Somewhere along the line, maybe in their 40s, maybe in that something just happens and they mature and they begin to live up to those expectations. So to a large extent, yes, because your personalities differ, he may not be as aggressive, he may not be as tenacious as you are, but it's your responsibility to also understand his own personality and how to bring the best out of people with his own type of makeup. You can still bring the best out of him. You can still help him. And I'm sure your fear is, for how long am I going to do this? It won't be forever, I can assure you. Because at the point in time,
I'm in it already, ma'am, and there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. I have to continue.
you are succeeding. And you will, a time will come when you just realize, wow, we've traveled far, we've gone far. How did we get here? Because at the point in time, I used to think my husband was too cool and level-headed and easy going, to really achieve as much as I wanted him to achieve. I was in the corporate world and I saw guys, being go-getters, being aggressive, and playing all the politics and all that. And I used to, in a corner of my heart, I used to compare him. And I used to feel like, oh, he wasn't aggressive enough. But over time, I realized I misjudged him. I really, really did. And I'm sure somewhere down the line, you would also realize that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We have actually spent enough time tonight. So if you guys really want to hear more of Bisi Adebayo, what you need to do is just to join the the community, so that you can watch her via Zoom on Friday and Saturday. Or if you want to see her live, just pay 450,000 naira and they will give you a seat. in a hotel, and then you watch her live. She's going to kick off the program on Friday, so you don't want to miss it. So she's our first speaker after I'm done with the introduction, because what she's talking about, last year we placed that in last. When it comes to the family and everything, we placed it last. And we realized most people got tired, most people left. So if we say family comes first, then we need to bring that first on the border. So she'll be speaking to us along that line. I like the fact that she has unveiled a part of it, because you're a head doesn't mean you're a leader, so you have to learn leadership. So that's what we're doing on Friday and Saturday, and that's why you don't want to miss that. You can either watch it from the comfort of your home, or you come to a cool hotel where we'll have a lot of fun. Guess what we're doing in the cool hotel? It's gonna be, let me use the word, it's gonna be mad, it's gonna be crazy, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be a place where you learn. I mean, we're getting a live band, we're getting 2 live bands, one on Friday, one on Saturday. You're wondering, is it a seminar that we're coming for, a concert, or an Owambe party? You know what? We want to lump everything together for a wonderful experience. And let me tell you, it's not like your normal seminar or conference. It's not. The Nia Adesanya program is not a normal seminar or conference, but when it comes to the boot camp, it's fun-filled, it's inspirational, it's full of content, and I tell you, you don't want to miss it. You either get involved with us online and Zoom, or you come live. To come live, 450,000 naira. To join us online, 50,000 naira. But I will encourage you that you join the community. Once you join the community for 90 days, you also have access to be part of us online on Friday and Saturday. And please, whatever you do, whether you're in the office or not, make sure you don't miss Bisi Adebayo session that will be in the morning belt. And immediately after her, we'll have Godrill Ogweche, who's going to be talking about how you can be relevant in the corporate setting. And then ladies first, like they say, we're going to have the ladies first, and then the remaining one will be for the macho men to carry the remaining things. I'm so looking forward to Friday. I'm so looking forward to having Sister Bisi Adebayo with me, and I'm super excited. Just like I was excited tonight when she came on. I know I'm double excited on Friday. So please, guys, join us. You have 2 paths to being part of us in the boot camp. Like they say, Trump has 2 parts to the presidency, narrow parts, kind of. You hear a lot of things like that. So you have 2 parts to the boot camp. 1, Zoom meeting. 2, be live with us in a hotel. So those of us who are outside the country, you can join a Zoom meeting. And if you're not part of the community, you have to just pay 50,000. Thank you so much. Please go to the chat room and let Madam Bisi see how much she has been a blessing to us. So go there, thank her, appreciate her, and then we're done an extra 1 hour, and then we're not even feeling it. We're not even feeling it. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for accepting to be with us on Friday again, because I know most of them will still see your face talking to us on Friday, because they will be here and they're listening to you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. I don't know whether you have a parting shot for us. Once you have a parting shot, we can close the meeting and as we dance. Remember, this is our last episode, and it's so nice and so exciting to close this session with a woman. I mean, and she did a fantastic job. Fantastic job. We've only had a few people who kept us 1 hour after our time. And then you're still looking at the chat, participants still have 41 people. And we had about 50 people tonight. And then over 90% are still hanging on right here. That shows that it was not a dull moment at all. So, Sister Bisi, do you have a closing chat for
Yes,
us?
I do have. Thanks a million for having me. I've enjoyed every bit of the time. I've spent with it tonight. I'm also excitedly looking forward to Friday. But for those of us here tonight, please let's take action. We've discussed, I want a situation in which the men would go back home and call their wives, to a conference. I mean, just sit down and why not just find out from her what her dreams are? What's her vision? What's your husband's vision? What's his dream? What kind of a life, does he really desire that you both live? What vision do you have? I mean, do you have lofty dreams about maybe the standard of life, the quality of life, some particular achievements, and then decide to work together? Have those conversations, honest conversations. Do your assessments, take your decisions, and take courage and begin to implement. I believe strongly that maybe by the time you're having this money series again next year, some people will just be sharing their stories and we'll be talking about the things they were able to achieve, working together and the very many opportunities that they were able to take advantage of. It works. It worked for my own family, and I'm sure it would work for yours if you give it a shot. So please do, and let's hear your story months down the line. Thank you. Have a beautiful night.
Thank you so much. My regards to